If you're broke in your 50s, I want to change everything for you. I'm sure you want to retire pretty soon, and I'm sure you don't want to work into your late 70s. But that's just not going to be possible unless you make these 3 changes. So in this video, I will tell you these exact 3 changes you can make to change your life forever.
Is it Brian?
Hi, I'm Giannino. I teach you how to make money, grow money, and invest money. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And I have to say, I am terrified for everyone retiring in the next 10 years, mostly because the stock market is at all-time highs on a brink of a recession. And what this means to you is you cannot rely on index funds to grow your money. You cannot bank on that happening because a 50% drop could take a couple of years to recover. Also, we have Social Security looking to cut its benefits in 2035. So my point is, you can't rely on the stock market to grow your money and help you retire, and you can't rely on Social Security to pay you in retirement. So if you can't rely on anyone else, who can you rely on? And that's going to be yourself. You are in charge of your retirement. You're in charge of your future. Nobody except you is in charge of your financial future. And the first steps to getting unbroke and retiring earlier are in this video. So make sure you watch the whole thing. And let's just break down the goal of retirement. The way you can retire is if you have enough money saved up where you can pay your expenses. So when you retire, you can use dividends, or you can just take out money each month to pay your expenses. And that large chunk you saved is going to allow you to do that. But the problem's not in saving that amount to retire. The problem actually is in lowering those expenses. Because if you are broke right now, the first place to obviously look is your expenses every month, because turning those around can unsink ships and make your financial future that much more possible. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today, is teach you what expenses you can reduce today to make financial freedom possible for you in the next couple years. And most importantly, when you free up expenses, you also free up your money. So you can actually use that money to become unbroke. You can use that money to invest in the stock market. So by freeing expenses, you can make everything possible. And the only way to do this is for step number 1. Look in the mirror and figure out what you're spending money on every month. Make a list. Just use an example spreadsheet on the internet. And here's an example I found on the internet of what people spend every month on their expenses. And as you can see, it's ordered from smallest to largest, with the largest expense being, not a surprise, is your housing. Housing alone takes up 30 to 50% per month. And the best part is you can reduce this. You can save 50 to 70% in your housing. And here's the secret to saving 70%, or maybe $1,200 a month on expenses, is just move. Just find another city that has cheaper housing. There's plenty of cities out there that have $500 a month housing, which is 60% less than you're paying right now. And if you don't believe me, here's a top 10 list of the cheapest places to live, with Buffalo, New York being $500 a month rent. And I know you're gonna give me this excuse of, I don't want to live in Buffalo, New York. Trust me, nobody does. And here's what you could do. You can move to Portugal, which all in every month is $1,000, with housing being $350 of that. So you can move to Portugal, live on the beach, a coastal area, and pay $350 per month on housing. That's going to save you, all in all, $15,000 per year. So let's say you actually do listen to me. You do lower your expenses. You do have 15 grand laying around at the end of the year. What do you do with that? And what I'm going to do is tell you exactly what you should do at the end of the video. But I want to go into the next most popular expense, which is transportation, eating up $10,000 per year. And here's how you knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. You move somewhere where you don't need to transport to work, to church, to the grocery store. You move somewhere you can walk to places, take the bus. Knock that 15 grand and that 10 grand out at once. Now you have saved up a $25,000 paycheck every year that you can do wonders with. And if you're not convinced, here's some reasons why owning a car is just a terrible decision. Number one, it takes up your time. Going to the gas station, changing out oil, it's a time suck. Number two, it takes your money. It takes your money with the gas station and the oil changes. And lastly, your car is polluting the earth every day. So there's really 3 bad reasons to own a car and 1 good reason to own a car. You want to get to places, which you can do with public transportation in a great city or a bike. This helps you get fit and healthy too. And I can go on and on just knocking on each expense, seeing which ones you can take off, with entertainment being $3,000 a year. And we also have apparel coming in at $2,000 per year. I would say you don't need to go to the best concerts and you don't need to wear the best clothes. So that's yet again another $5,000 I'm saving you right now. All in all, that is $30,000 you have saved just from watching this video. But this is exactly why you watch the videos. What I'm gonna tell you next is gonna change everything. This could change your financial future, but I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. So that $30,000 that you saved, you're gonna use that to change everything. And here's what you're gonna do step by step. So the first thing you wanna do with that $30,000 is pay off your debt. Right away, knock it down. I'm not talking about paying down your house. I'm talking about the high interest rate debt, the car loans, the credit cards, the student loans. If you're 50 years old and you still have student loans, you need to knock that out right away. And $30,000 per year should be able to do that. In 1 year, I would hope you could knock out all your debt with $30,000. Hopefully, I'm not wrong. But the reason we're knocking out debt is because it's another expense every month. So just like every expense we listed, the housing, the transportation, the apparel, the entertainment, those 4 expenses, we also have a 5th one, which is interest on debt and the actual debt payment. So if we can knock out 5 expenses, that's less money you have to make when you retire, or less money your retirement account has to bring in for you. So by knocking out expenses, you can actually retire early with less money. It's a crazy cool concept. So did you know with this $30,000 per year, you can retire in the next 10 years. So if you're 50 right now, you can retire when you're 60, which is 5 to 10 years earlier than most people do. You can actually retire when you're 65 too. It's all up to what kind of lifestyle you really want to live. But here's the key, that $30,000, what you're gonna do with that is invest it heavily into dividend paying stocks. And why do I say dividend paying stocks? Well, it's pretty simple. It's because they still appreciate, they still grow in the stock market, but a dividend paying stock will pay you every year a certain percentage of what you own. So out of that $30,000, you can get paid 5% per year, 7% per year. So when you retire, you have something paying you every year so you don't have to reduce the amount you have in your retirement account. This is going to save you and help you last long in retirement. And here's how the actual math works. So if you retire putting $30K a year away into dividend stocks for 10 years, when you retire when you're 60, you will have $500,000. This is because you had $30,000 for 10 years, which is $300,000, and you have appreciation. So the stock market grew during those 10 years, so you actually made an extra $200,000. On top of that, because you're invested in dividend stocks paying 5 to 7% per year, you're gonna actually bring in an extra $30,000 in your retirement. So with that $500,000, you can bring in $30,000 per year for the rest of your retirement easily. The key here is you gotta make sure that $30,000 is livable. What do your expenses look like? Maybe you should move to Portugal where it's $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. You have an extra $28,000 to do whatever the heck you want with. So just to break it down, how I took you from a broke 50-year-old to a retired 60-year-old, the process was I eliminated unnecessary expenses. So you gotta move to make this possible. You gotta take out transportation. You gotta stop going to concerts, stop buying clothes. Most importantly, eliminate debt with whatever money you took out of expenses. Pay down that debt quickly. And once that debt is gone and wiped out, that's a 5th expense you don't have to worry about when you retire. So the whole goal in retirement is to cover your expenses. If you eliminate your expenses or lower them to a small amount, you don't need to have that much when you retire. That's all I'm trying to do, is work this from a different angle. Instead of trying to get $1 million when you retire, I'm trying to get you $500,000 and lower your expenses. Change your lifestyle. And lastly, the key to what I told you about today was using that $30K we freed up, putting it in the stock market. You're gonna save a load in taxes doing this too. By doing that for 10 straight years, you're gonna have $500,000 in a portfolio that could pay you $30,000 per year. So this is the process to go from broken 50 to 60 and retired in 10 years. So I didn't talk about this much, but what do you buy in dividend stocks? What do you buy in the stock market? Check out the video as I tell you exactly what to buy to invest in your 50s. Peace. It's Matt coming at you. In this video, we're going to talk about how to invest in your 50s. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some places to put your money that may make your retirement a little bit more comfortable.